Hi there. We're continuing our journey through the Psalms, the Tehillim, that's the praises in Hebrew. And we're in Psalm 136 in the Hebrew letter numbering system. That's Psalm Kuf, Lamed, Vav. Kuf is 100, Lamed is 30, and Vav is the letter for 6. That's 136. This is a psalm, which is a very specific kind of psalm. It's written to be sung sort of in response, called an antiphonal psalm. One voice sings, or maybe a number of voices sing, and then there's a response. And the response is the same throughout. So there's 26 verses in this psalm, and the response is always the same. It's Ki Olam Chasdo, and this is the refrain of Israel's life, really. It means for his covenant bonded grace is without limit. It endures forever. And we've talked much before in these videos about chesed. It's a word that is so ubiquitous. It's everywhere throughout the scriptures, the Old Testament and into the New Testament in the form of grace. It's this word that really says that because God is who he says he is, because he keeps his covenant, he will be true to what he says when he says that he will bless all the nations of the earth. And so this song is celebrating that. And it does it by looking at the story, the whole story of the unfolding of creation, really. So it starts off by saying, Hodul Adonai ki tov ki le'olam chasdo, give thanks to the Lord, because he is good, he is tov. And forever his covenant grace, his covenant bonded grace goes on without limit. Give thanks to the God of gods, Elohim. He is the God of gods. There's no God to compare with him. He is beyond all other gods. He is holy in that sense because his mercy endures forever. And so it repeats, give thanks to the Lord of lords, Adonai Adonai, Adonai Adonim, because he's a king above all other kings. He's the Lord, the him who does great wonders, the him who does great marvels, the him who by his wisdom made the skies, made the heavens, who stretched the earth out above the water. So this is referring back to the Genesis account of creation, and there's a lot of similarities here. It's recalling the story of the Genesis, the unfolding of creation in Genesis 1. He stretched out the heavens above the waters, so it's that firmament, that atmosphere that God has made that surrounds us, that enables life, that enables sound to travel, that enables us to enjoy the wonderful things that we enjoy. To him who made the great lights, Orim Gedolim, the great lights in the sky, the sun, Shemesh, Lemamshelet, to rule the day, Ayom, and the moon and the stars, Yareach v'Kochavim, the moon and the stars, Lemamshelet Balayla, to rule in the night. And it's again this picture that he's put these things in place for there to be times and seasons. And then it moves on to the story of the deliverance from Egypt. So for him who smote Egypt, Mitzrayim, in their firstborn, Bechorim, and brought Israel out from them with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, an arm that was strong, that he divided the Yam Suf, it is, the Sea of Reeds, or we call it the Red Sea. It's translated as the Red Sea, but it means in Hebrew the Sea of Reeds, Yam Suf. And he made Israel go through the middle of it, but overthrew Pharaoh and his host. Pharaoh, remember, ended up having pursued Israelites, trying to pull them back into slavery. No, God cut him off from the people of Israel, and he was lost. And then he led his people through the Midbar, through the wilderness. Midbar is an interesting place because it's made up of a Hebrew word, davar, that means to speak. It's the place where God spoke to his people, even though it was a wild place, even though it was a lonely place. And to bring them into their promised land, God defeated great kings. And there's the repeat here, as there was in Psalm 135, of reference to King Sihon of the Amorites and King Og of Bashan, and two great leaders that God dealt with because they refused to help the Israelites. And then he gave their lands for a heritage, an achala, to his people, and a heritage to Israel, his servant. And he remembered them b'shephelenu, in our low place. Shefel is the low place. The shefelah, in geographical terms in Hebrew, is the low country, is the plain that goes down from the hills down to the sea. And so it says, in our low place, in our place, our humble place, our lowly place, it's Israel realizing, they're confessing, they haven't done this by their own power. God has brought them into this place where he's given them this land, and he's redeemed them from their enemies. He's rescued them from their enemies. And then in the closing couple of verses, it says he gives food to all flesh, lechem lekol basar. He gives food to everything that is, everything that lives. And then, of course, it finishes up by saying, Hodu Elohei Shamayim. Give thanks to the Lord of heaven, the Lord of the sky, Lord who made everything. And then ends with this refrain that's been repeated 26 times, Ki lo olam chasdo, because his chesed, his covenant obligation, is without limit. It lasts forever. What an amazing song this is, going through the reminding us of the greatness of God, of his creation, of his redemption. And of course, we could add to that the salvation of God through Messiah Jesus, which he has brought to us, so that we also will be able to say, Hodul Adonai ki tov, ki lo olam chasdo. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His covenant obligation, which is his grace, lasts forever. Have a good day.